As we head into the new year, many people look to change themselves for the better. People make resolutions like wanting to work out more, get in better shape, spend more time with family and friends, and overall find fulfillment in their lives. Well, that's boring! You and I both know that the only real resolutions you should be making for 2022 is ranking up in Rocket League, and I'm here to help. With the ever-changing metas and different eras Rocket League has gone through, it can be hard to know exactly what to focus on to rank up. So in this video, I'm gonna give you the 5 most essential tips you will need to rank up as fast as possible this year. Now, before we begin, there's something we need to discuss. How come you haven't made that big red button gray yet? It literally takes one click and it helps me make better and better content for you guys. Also, don't make the like button feel left out. Go press that too. Okay, without further ado, let's get into what you actually need to do to rank up as fast as possible in 2022. Okay, when you open Rocket League, what is the first thing you do? I know for a fact it is not any type of training routine. You hop into free play and start doing random air dribbles. Trust me, I know, I do it too. Look, if you really want to rank up as fast as possible this year, you have to be willing to do things not many other players are doing. You want to focus your training routine around a couple basic principles. First of all, you have to focus on the basics. At its core, Rocket League is a simple game. You shoot the ball in the net, and if you score more than the other team, you win. Now, the easiest way to score is not flip resets. It's literally just shooting the ball. So practice that. Shooting the ball well is literally like 50% of this game. If you can score consistently when you have the ball, you will find yourself ranking up insanely fast. Now, optimizing your training means spending less time AFK braining air dribbles and free play and more time consciously focusing on what you want to improve. For example, if you find yourself really lacking in the aerial department, put an emphasis on practicing these in your training routine. Now, one of the best drills you can possibly do to improve is just hitting the ball around in free play with as much speed as possible. This single drill will help you more than almost any other training pack available out there because this literally trains everything. Your reactions, your ability to hit the ball with power, recoveries, movement, aerials, all in the same drill. All you have to do is make yourself play at a much higher speed than you normally would in-game. You know you're doing this correctly if you start whiffing, which is good. Whiffing is learning. If you use this drill instead of doing random freestyle mechanics to warm up, I guarantee that you will win more games. Now, I'm not saying that you should avoid training packs entirely, but in this new year, you need to start looking at them differently. Training packs are a very useful tool to train mechanics in common scenarios that you would see in-game, but you should not view it as your main form of training. Free play is just so much more effective at training your overall skill that it just makes more sense to use free play more than these training packs. However, when using training packs, remember to choose packs with lots of variability and switch up which packs you use so you don't get caught up in the trap of practicing the same single scenario of an aerial shot over and over again. I made a video covering the best training packs to use if you aren't sure which ones are best for you, so definitely check that out.
On me, no, we don't run no Patagonia. On me.
I would honestly say that this is one of the most overlooked mechanics in Rocket League. Mastering this part of your game is absolutely essential to improving your overall speed and recoveries around the map. And the best part is, once you learn how to power slide correctly, you can almost instantly see improvement. Now, learning how to power slide correctly just means thinking a little bit harder about what you're doing on the field. What I mean by this is you have to consciously apply what I'm about to tell you about power sliding in your gameplay in order for it to become an unconscious part of your gameplay. Now, most lower level players and even higher level players tend to actually underutilize power slide. Like, I see so many players just like forgetting the power slide exists, so they end up landing super awkwardly on the ground and have to perform an entire 3-point turn just to get back into the play. Like, bro, there's literally a whole ass button on your controller for this exact purpose. Like, just use it. Okay, but in all seriousness, most players in Rocket League use power slide less often than they should. And when they do power slide, they power slide for longer than they should. The average pro player power slides about 12 times per minute, while the average plat player power slides 6 times per minute. However, when they do power slide, pros power slide for about half as much time as a plat player. This means plat players are just straight up bad at Rocket League. This means you have to view power sliding as an essential part of your gameplay. When doing any sort of recovery mechanic, consciously focus on potentially power sliding when you land to keep your momentum. Now, I'm not saying you need to be holding down power slide at all times like some type of figure skating champion, but get a feel for the different ways and situations you can use power slide in. I would say that for almost every single recovery you do in-game, whether that be landing from an aerial, wave dashing, or making any kind of quick adjustment or turn, you must be using power slide in these movements. Oh, and also, remember to repeatedly tap power slide rather than holding it for making cleaner turns and transitions. Alright, now to train this and to see improvement in your gameplay really quickly, literally just mess around in free play for a couple minutes a day and consciously focus on how power slide works into recoveries. For example, test how power slide can be used in dribbling and making sharper turns to pressure the ball. This will allow you to better understand when and where you need to use power slide, and will make you realize that you actually aren't using power slide enough. Ultimately though, this is muscle memory building, but focusing on this means you are honing in on your recovery mechanics, which is way better than the other players in your rank who are probably in free play trying to hit an air dribble for like 3 hours every day. Look, I'm sorry. I wish it didn't have to come to this, but it was inevitable. Playing 1v1s is literally Rocket League Improvement Simulator on steroids. Like, I can't not tell you guys to at least try playing this game mode. It would honestly be unfair to my audience. However, I know how utterly soul-crushing this can be, so I'll tell you why I think it's worth all the pain. Straight off the bat, this is the best game mode if you're looking to improve the fastest in terms of your overall personal skill, which equals ranking up faster too, obviously. It forces you to sharpen up your mechanics like no other game mode, and better helps you understand your own mistakes. Because you don't have other players to back you up, there's literally no one else to blame for getting scored on except yourself. This game mode causes you to self-reflect a lot, and it forces you to think about every decision you're making rather than just AFK braining and relying on strictly muscle memory to win in other game modes. Because so many people are reluctant to play this game mode, putting your hours in is going to give you a huge advantage on other players. Most players don't really like playing 1v1s for obvious reasons, but this leaves out a huge aspect of improvement that they could be using to improve much quicker. I myself fell victim to this mentality, and I almost never played 1v1s because I thought I was just bad at them, so I only mained 2v2s for most of my Rocket League career. However, this also caused me to get super hard stuck in the depths of Champ 2, and the thing that pulled me out of that terrible rank was forcing myself to play 1v1s. And I'm telling you, once you understand how to actually play 1v1s, it's actually sort of fun. But yeah, you gotta play 1v1s if you want to rank up as fast as possible. Solo queue brings some demons out of me that I didn't even know existed. But that doesn't mean you get the excuse to be toxic. Look, solo queue can be some of the worst brain rot that an individual can experience. But you know what makes it worse? Instantly saying okay or what a save after your teammate does something even slightly wrong or does something you didn't want them to do. If you do this, you are part of the problem. You can't just start being toxic in game and expect people to play better or for you to have a better chance to win. Like what? You think those 15 what a saves you dropped on your teammate is gonna make him suddenly realize that he's been playing the game wrong this whole time and instantly turn him into an SSL or something? Like, I know it's hard to not let your anger out on other players when you're losing. Trust me, some people really deserve it. But I'm telling you, it literally only makes things worse. There is almost zero benefit to being toxic in-game, or honestly saying anything at all in chat. 99% of the time, your teammate will end up being toxic back or will go AFK, and you'll most likely end up losing that game. You don't want anger or frustration to get in the way of you ranking up. So one of the best things that you can do in this game to help you rank up is just turning off chat. Once I did this, I swear it added like 10 years onto my life. I no longer had to worry about people just being toxic for no reason, and I could better focus on the game. It also stopped me from being toxic to other people because the game literally stops you from communicating with other players. Now, if you still find yourself being toxic or constantly blaming your teammates for your losses, you might need to change your mentality. In 2022, it's honestly silly to still be blaming your teammates when you lose. In almost all situations, there are definitely things you could be doing better to improve your gameplay and help your team win. Shifting your mentality to focus on what you could be doing better instead of what your teammates are doing wrong is way more beneficial to your improvement and ranking up in this game. You need to be able to self-reflect and find your own mistakes in your gameplay. If you get scored on, the first thing you should be thinking of is what could I have done better to stop that from happening. Watching your own replays is also a great way to shift your mentality because it removes you from the pressure of the immediate in-game environment so you can see what you're doing wrong in real time. Now, some other ways you can remove toxicity from your games is by knowing when it's time to take a break. If you get on a little bit of a losing streak and find yourself going into every game already hating your teammates, then that's a major sign that you should probably stop playing. Playing tilted almost always leads to D-rank, which is super frustrating when you log in the next day 2 ranks below what you were the day before because you just didn't know when to stop queuing. Ultimately, if you're not having fun with the game, you're not gonna want to rank up. If that means you absolutely cannot play 1v1s or something, then okay, fine. Don't play 1v1s. At the end of the day, Rocket League is supposed to be a game you can enjoy. And if you're having fun with the game, that is when you will improve the most. Honestly, it's not really all that fun to grind shooting and defense drills all day to improve, and you want to be able to prolong your enjoyment for this game as long as possible. You don't want to burn yourself out doing stuff you don't enjoy just so you can get those coveted season rewards. Like, bruh, imagine grinding all season to rank up just to get these. Like, it's not really worth it. Now, one of my favorite things to do to have a lot more fun while ranking up is playing with friends. Like, Rocket League gets a billion times better when you're just messing around and chilling with your homies. Ranked becomes so much easier when you can actually talk to the person you're playing with and not just communicate through quick chat like cavemen. You can build up chemistry with your friend and be able to carry each other through the ranks like you can't really do with a solo queue teammate. Playing casual games and extra modes with your friends is also literally unbeatable. Like, the conversations you have while playing are unmatched.
Peanut butter chocolate great when separate, but when they combine, they make the morning time epic. Bam. Video demonetized.
Now, with that being said, your friends might not always be available or willing to play, or you might just straight up not have friends.
All around me are familiar.
Well, I have a couple solutions. 1, you could join my Discord. I'm building a community where people can just hang out and talk to each other and be able to find people to play with. Or 2, you can not play with friends and do another thing that makes Rocket League fun again. Freestyling. Okay, I know this goes against a lot of what I've said in the past, but I will admit that practicing freestyle mechanics can be some of the most fun things to do in-game. Finally hitting that clip you've been training for hours is one of the best feelings in the world, and it also sort of practices your mechanics as well. However, I will say that your base mechanics really limit you in terms of how you can practice freestyling. So if you're like Silver trying to practice flip resets, you might have a bit of a harder time than someone in Champ practicing. Overall though, just do what brings you the most enjoyment in this game. And if you're willing to put up with the necessary training you need to do to improve at the same time, you will see your rank skyrocket in this new year. Okay, now I didn't tell you this earlier, but there's actually a secret 6th tip that is far more important than any tip I've listed out in this video so far. Think of it as your reward for watching all the way until the end. The final and most important tip to ranking up in 2022 is